Grace, the scheduling coordinator for NJ4S Union Hub, and today we'll be having our Monday presentation. For today's presentation will be We Are All One by Jeancy Salomon, and some information about her. Jeancy Salomon is a passionate individual with a master's in public health and a bachelor's in health science. She has dedicated a significant part of her time to the Brooklyn school community as a counselor. Additionally, her internships at Maimonides Hospital, where she was a secretary for therapy, further enriched her understanding of healthcare, and she is known for her kindness, multi-talented nature, and her funny laugh. Exploring new things brings her lots of immense joy. Whether it's a run on a track or a commitment to giving back, she's here for the long run, embracing life's adventures with an open heart and a determined spirit. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Jeancy for her presentation.
Thank you, Grace, for that. As Grace said before, this month is June, as we all know, June 2nd, to be specific. And with June, we have plenty of things that we celebrate as far as Pride Month, Caribbean culture, Juneteenth, and so on and so on. If you are in the NJ4S office at Union Hub, you can also see our board for all the things that will be occurring in June. But today specifically, we'll be talking about breaking barriers as far as stereotypes relating to gender roles. So I just want to start off with a quote saying, "I will not have my life narrowed down. I will not bow down to somebody else's whim or to someone else."
Might be a cousin.
Okay. Else's whim or to someone else's ignorance. Bell hooks. Some of the things we'll be tapping into today as far as our agenda will be Gender Studies 101. We're going to get into the basics, intersectionality, history, trans advocacy, ways to be more inclusive. So first and foremost, what comes to mind when you guys think of, teen girls living in the U.S.? What's the first thing that comes to mind? You could drop it in the chat if you'd like, or you could just say it out loud. Makeup tutorials. Oh, that's a good one. Studying, yes. So basically when you TikToks, yes, they like to generate and correlate us with TikToks. TikToks, makeup tutorials. We're very studious in our books. So like we said, unconsciously people have certain stereotypes for genders, whether they're male or female. When you're a teenage girl, you have to be more feminine, doing more ladylike things. So they would associate you dancing, more ballet recital, even being a cheerleader. But now we're in a different generation to where women are expanding outside of things that they would like to label as, femininity. Okay, so some of the gender norms are a set of ideas governing how women and men, girls, boys should act and shouldn't act. An example would be men are defenders and should be the ones with careers in the military. Or another example for women is women should be housewives, cooking and cleaning. As gender roles appear, it's usually considered to be appropriate to be a particular gender as determined by culture norms. So a lot of these stereotypes, they like to relate to gender roles. It's not something that, was just delivered to us. It's like as through centuries have gone through. They created rules on how men should be acting, how women should be acting. Like we said before, an example would be women should be responsible for cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children. But if you live in a two-parent household, it shouldn't be the mother only responsible for taking care of a kid that was made by two people. So would you guys like to share some examples of gender roles or some examples of gender roles that kind of, get under your skin or some things that you agree is true? I would like to say that a gender role that I think I don't agree with would be women aren't as smart as men or able to run a business as well equipped as a man can. That's a gender role or a gender stereotype that I just don't agree with. Men pay for the dates, and I don't have any issue with this. Yes, a lot of women don't have issues with this, and then we have other women who are pushing that, analogy towards them. And not all men have that financial stance to be able to pay for you and them. Not being funny, always serious, yes. Like, women can't be too funny or can't be too free or else they think you're an airhead. So you have to have this notion of being serious and very stern and assertive. Any other examples before I move on? Women belong in the kitchen. Yes. Women can't earn more at work. Yes. So the last thing that Brianna just said, that is actually not even a stereotype. This is a fact. Like, women do not earn as much as men. Women shouldn't be in STEM. Yes. Having to be put together at all times. Absolutely. Having to be put together at all times is something that we need to break the barrier of, because we have our bad days and we have our good days. Acting as if we're not humans and that we don't have personal things going on in life is just unfair. Why is it not moving? Okay. So, are you questioning yourself when it comes to genders? So, as we said before, as generations go by, we start figuring out new things, tapping into things that we like without feeling the fear of someone judging us or saying that we're not ladylike or we're not too masculine. So, with regards to that, it definitely plays a role in a lot of people's mental health, because it starts to make them question who they are. Am I a boy? Am I a girl? Or am I a man? Am I masculine enough? Or am I feminine enough because I like to watch football games? Am I masculine enough because I don't care to go 50-50 with my wife, or I don't care if my wife makes more than me? So it goes to show that people question their birth gender. Like, how do you guys feel? Do you feel like who you are now correlates to your gender role, or what gender do you wish people saw you as, or does it even bother you? How would you like to express your gender? Do you correlate yourself to your pronouns? Are you just he, him, she, her, they, them? Like, how do you guys feel? And when you imagine your future, what gender are you? Or are you just someone that doesn't really feel as though gender applies to who you are? Yes, you were born as a woman, but it's your life. You get to do as you please. So the United Nations Development Program has released in 2023 that gender social norms. It's kind of getting concerning now, because revealing that decades long of stagnation and global gender biases has, like as we said before, has been playing a role in people's mental health. So despite in women's education and participation in the workplace, as you can see, us women, we're moving, we're grooving, we're graduating with higher degrees. We're able to stand tall just as men can in the workplace, and still today we don't get the same pay. So this is an issue that's been evolving. Like I see someone dropped in the chat when they said women can't be in STEM, and there's plenty of women in STEM. Are they getting paid as much as men are in STEM? No, they aren't. So this is a chart here that evaluates how, well, in 2023, how these stereotypes still are playing a role in our work life, political life, and educational life. People may not express it verbally, but when they did take surveys, it showed that 49.81% of men still had a bias based on gender. 50.69% of women still had a bias towards political aspects, educational, economical, physical integrity. So even if we're walking around, we're saying all these things, we're protesting, we're being more inclusive, there's still a very high percentage of people who don't feel as though that women should be in the workplace, who don't feel as though that women aren't as smart as men. And it sucks to see, but that's why we're here and we're having this presentation, to break those barriers and social norms, that we'd like to say. 9 out of 10 men and women have fundamental biases against women. Nearly half the world's people believe that men make better political leaders than women do. And this would go more so to the presidential option that we just had. A lot of people seen that Kamala wouldn't be a great president because she was a woman. A lot of people tweeted things like, oh, she caught her period, she sent us into war. It was too many biases towards her just based off of the fact that she was a woman. They weren't looking at all the great things that she'd done, not just for herself, but the country, her state, and who she is as a woman. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean she wouldn't be able to apply those experiences to becoming a president. 2 of 5 people believe that men make better business executives than women do. So I'm just gonna drop a quote here. Would anybody like to read it? So it says here the acknowledgement that everyone has their own unique experiences of discrimination and oppression. We must consider everything and anything that can marginalize people, whether it's gender, race, class, sexual orientation, and physical ability. This was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989. This kind of translates to women's rights, being all inclusive, realizing that it's not just about gender, it's not just about race, it's about all aspects on how they try to put everyone in a specific box because they believe that when you're a specific gender, your specific color, you should be acting this way. So, an example would be a brief history on women's rights. The 19th century, the late 19th century, we saw the suffrage movement where women fought to have the right to vote. And because of the 19th century, today is one of the reasons why we can't vote. 20th century, significant milestones were achieved, such as the right to work, reproductive rights, and the establishment of organizations in advocating for women's rights. So we have a lot of organizations that stand tall behind women, stand tall behind young women as well, teenage women and children, boys and girls clubs. We have all girls clubs. We even have a brief workshop that we do at NJ4S as well called Sister to Sister. 21st century, there has been an increased focus on gender equality and movements and initiatives to address discrimination and promotes women's rights globally. Women empowerment 21st century concerns would be number one. Despite progress, gender disparities persist in various areas such as education, employment, and political representations. As you all know, ladies, we have put in the work, we have proven ourselves, and still today there's so much pushback on whether or not we deserve the compensation, the job positions, or the recognition for all the work that we do. Two would be the lack of women in power perpetuates gender disparities in decision makings. Diverse perspectives are essential for effective governance. So we know that we can do it. It's not that we haven't proven ourselves. It's not that we don't show up like we are great and we are smart. It's just that people refuse to see that past the stereotypes that they've been walking on for years and centuries. They do not want to break the barrier to allow us to prove ourselves like we've been doing for the past year. Recognizing that women's experiences are shaped by factors such as race, ethnicity, disability, and social economic status. So now that we're on the topic of women, we need to talk about trans women. HRC Foundation report epidemic of violence continues based on transgender and gender non-conforming people still killed as disproportionate rates in 2023. So these statistics are based on 2023. They've either decreased or increased. So the key findings that they have found in 2023 is 9 in 10 transgender non-conforming victims were people of color. 90.9%, that's a huge percentage. 7 in 10, 69.7% were transgender women. More than 6 in 10, which is 61.8%, were Black transgender women. 3/4 were under the age of 35. Among those with a known killer, almost half were killed by a family member, a friend, or a sexual romantic partner. So you would assume because we're a friend's family and you're in consensual romantic intimate relationship that somebody would care for who you were, but the rates are higher. More than half were initially misgendered by the police or in news reports. So a lot of these people weren't able to be represented correctly because of people not believing that you can't be a transgender woman or you can't be a transgender man. Be more inclusive. So we're going to explore our identities if we're also meeting new people, or if you have a friend, family member, romantic partner that expresses to you that they're on the journey of exploring their identity, we would show them grace and have respect towards that. We would also allow women to speak, listen, hear what they have to say, hear what they have to provide, and give them that space and grace to show that. Have conversations with your friends and family. We have to remember that our friends and family are in our lives for a reason. They're here to love us, accept us, and show us where we show up as. So you should be comfortable enough to have conversations with your family and friends. Change your vocabulary. You may not apply the new day and age pronouns, but other people do apply the pronouns. So you should be able to respect that as well. It's normal to feel uncomfortable when doing these things. You're already brave and you're already trying. So what we're trying to do is try. As long as you're trying and you're trying to show other people that not only do you respect yourself and your identity, but you also respect other people and their choices as well. So we're calling for action as far as educating ourselves. We're raising awareness about women's rights, gender equality, and women empowerment. We're advocating, so we're supporting policies that promote equal opportunities, fair raises, and representation. And we're amplifying voices. Share success stories of empowered women to inspire others. Share success stories on how gender equality does work. We're also calling for action as far as challenging norms, challenge stereotypes, challenging discrimination practices in community. We're also supporting support for community leaders committed to women's rights, support of women who plan on running for specific women rights, and having a mentor, mentoring young women and encouraging their leadership in community and empowerment. So, with that, I end with a quote saying, "Beloved community is formed not by the eradication of differences, but by its affirmation, by which each of us claiming the identities and cultural legacies that shape who we are and how we live in the world." Bell hooks. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much everyone for joining us today, and thank you so much to Jeancy too for an informative presentation. So if you want to give feedback on Jeancy's presentation, you can use the link in the chat that I just put in. We would greatly appreciate it. The submissions are anonymous and it helps improve the quality of our presentations. If you enjoyed the presentation and you want to keep up with what NJ4S Union Hub is doing in the community, you can follow us on social media at NJ4S Union, or if you have any questions about our programming, you can email us at NJ4SUnion@preventionlinks.org. Thank you again for joining us and have a great rest of the day.